What is up, everyone? Ninja Nick back with the next round of the Pokemon World Championships Day 2. This is round 5. We've got Cyrus Davis back on the right side of the screen, and we got Nezu on the left. Cyrus is on that Palkia deck still, just like she was in round 1. Although I saw from her tweet, she replaced the Canceling Clone with an Articuno, the one that can paralyze. And said each card was equally good both days, so it didn't really matter which one was which. I think I would prefer the Canceling Clone, just because I like the ability to use the Greninja more. And then it looks like we are up against Mew here. So Mew on the left and Palkia on the right. Also, of course, my camera is getting really weird again. There we go, that fixed it. Like, I used to have, like, what seemed like a perfect, like, chroma key for my green screen, but then it would always make anything that I wore that was yellow, or sometimes blue, transparent, so that I always looked, like, partially transparent, and it was an eyesore. So then I fixed my settings so that it doesn't do that, but now I have blur around me again, and I'm moving in a few days, so it doesn't matter, but it's still annoying. It's still really, really annoying. Also, I had to edit the last round. That was annoying too. During the last round, there was a weird judge ruling, and then after the judge ruling happened, and the game completed, they decided to do a different judge ruling instead. So I had to record a game 3 and splice them together, and I cut out the whole, like, 20 minutes where they were trying to come up with the ruling and reviewing footage. It was a mess. It was a mess is what it is. I don't edit my videos very often. I just record them as is. I literally just, like, paste myself over the recording and we're watching it together. But, yeah, sometimes sometimes I have to actually edit, which is why I'm glad I know how to do that. I used to edit all the time for, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff. I would put, like, light points on the screen and all that stuff. And I would have to do it always in post. But I figured out for Pokemon how to do most of the stuff live so that I don't have to edit. Not that I'm against editing, it's just a time saver if you don't have to do that afterwards. So we get double battle VIP pass here. We're able to get a Bidoof down, 2 Palkias, and the Spiritomb. Since we are against the Mew deck, definitely want to have that Spiritomb. It's going to shut off the abilities of all of those V Pokemon, so the Genesect specifically. So Nachi is going to have to find an Elisa Sparkle to be able to put a Fusion Strike energy onto each of these Genesects. That way, the Fusion Strike energy blocks abilities affecting their Pokemon, like the Spiritomb, so that then you can use your abilities. So you essentially protect yourself from the ability lock so that you have abilities. You block the ability lock to have abilities. So Nachi, all he did during one was play a Battle VIP pass, and that was about it. So not the greatest start there for a Mew VMAX deck. Usually you want to get a full bench set up and maybe an energy attachment. But it looks like Cyrus isn't doing too much on this first turn either, but not that you would really expect to do much else on turn 1 here. You can't attack turn 1 unless you want to do Rule the Region, so just leave that Chien-Pao in the active spot. It has the most HP out of all your Pokemon. You really don't want to see the Bidoof or the Spiritomb get knocked out, so you don't want to, like, switch into either of those. So keep your Palkias protected on the bench here. It looks like we are going to search through our deck here. We got the nice Art of the Boss's Orders. I do really like that one. I think that's my new favorite Art of Boss's Orders. I used to really like the Lysander one specifically, but is that like a Jirachi necklace as well? That's really freaking cool, actually. Is that like the Wishing Star and Jirachi? That's kind of what it looks like to me. I don't know if it actually is or not. So we are going to find ourselves a Mew V and a Mew VMAX. And we are going to play the alternate art Iono. I actually like the regular full art better than the alternate art of Iono as well. And Japanese booster boxes have like such bad pull rates. I don't know how these players always seem to find so many full arts and alternate arts and everything. They must all be rich there, because I know like their Cram-O-Matics and Battle VIP passes are super expensive in Japan. But yeah, I think it's like one like full art or secret rare per booster box there. And their booster boxes have less packs and less cards per pack. And it looks like we just hit into the Chien-Pao and it lives. That's actually really important. There was no power tablet that was able to come out, and that's because of that Spiritomb being able to lock those Genesects down. See, there's a thing where I always like to say you don't start with a benched Pokemon. You only start with your active only in the current format, because there are no turn 1 supporters. So your hand can't get... There's no cards that can disrupt your hand turn 1. So it is a lot better to just hold onto the Pokemon that are on your bench, so that if your opponent were to play Escape Rope, it doesn't force something like a Duraludon V active where it has a hard time moving back, you know? So, like, you could just start Arceus V, and then that's it, and then your opponent can't, like, Escape Rope anything up, right? But in the case of Spiritomb, I actually think if you don't know necessarily what you're playing against in a best of 1, or if you do know what you're playing against in a best of 3, because, of course, games 2 and possibly 3, you would know what you're playing against. So then you leave, like, say you start your Chien-Pao in this deck, but then you have Spiritomb on the bench, so that it shuts off all the abilities of your opponent. I was playing best of 1, didn't know what my opponent was playing, so I did open a hand that had the Spiritomb in it. I started my Rapid Strike Inteleon, and I benched my Spiritomb on the first turn. And that's the first time I've, like, had a bench Pokemon before I had a turn in years. Since the supporter rule change. And it worked, because my opponent was actually playing Gardevoir, and they missed the turn 1 energy attachment, and could not use Roar of the Sword, which they had on their bench, to use their Forest Seal Stone. So they could have gotten like 3 or 4 energy into play off of Roar of the Sword over multiple turns. During that game, they still ended up winning, unfortunately, but it put in a lot of work, starting with that Spiritomb on the bench. And looks like Cyrus is just able to get that Palkia going. Just another energy attachment for the turn there. It looks like, was that a Melanie to the bench Arceus, or the active? Didn't really, or no. They had it. She had an energy onto each of those Palkias, right? That's the art of Palpad that we don't have. We never got that one. That was supposed to be like a League Cup promo while COVID was happening, I believe. So we never got that art. But yeah, Cyrus, she was just able to do the subspace swell for big number to knock out that Mew. We do get another Mew, second Mew VMAX, so now we have both of them. We are able to Technoblast a second time in a row here. Going in for that knockout. Or not for the knockout, just for 190. Not quite getting there on either of these attacks. And, I mean, if you're playing Oricorio in the deck, you could potentially snipe some damage to the bench with damage counters, kind of like Sableye does. It's only 5, though. That could clean up on the Chien-Pao. And then maybe you could put a little bit more onto the active, I suppose, if you were to do that. You could always maybe, like, boss up the Bidoof after it evolves to Bibarel, and then use the Oricorio's attack to snipe the Chien-Pao on the bench. Would feel pretty good, actually. Or you could Ice Cue and just knock out that bench Spiritomb, would feel pretty good as well. And then you could always Ice Cue to knock out all of your opponent's other Pokemon. while there's a Bidoof in the active. So that is a play that you could potentially go for. But Cyrus is definitely, the game is in Cyrus's hands right now. I don't believe that she plays a Drapion, which would be the best for this matchup. But of course, having the Spiritomb is still pretty darn good as well. Just being able to shut off those Genesects should buy you the time to just hit big numbers with big Pokemon. Make it so your opponent can't draw into their power tablets. Has to hard draw into an Elisa Sparkle. They usually only play 2 Elisa Sparkle in the deck. So really hard to find that without maybe the use of 4 Sealstone. So it looks like we are going to switch into the Chien-Pao, play the Lost City, and use the ability of the Chien-Pao? No, it looks like we're going to use the Bibarel first. I'm a little surprised that we didn't use Chien-Pao first to try to... or no. Yeah, you would have to do Bibarel first, because otherwise you'll have those energies stuck in your hand. This isn't Baxcalibur. You can't just attach as many water energies from your hand as possible every turn. You can attach one and use another one for Greninja, and that's the most of the effectiveness of the Chien-Pao right there. Looks like we are going to go for a Star Portal potentially this turn, we're thinking about. And we're going to go for the attack with the Chien-Pao. So we are going for a one-shot potentially here on this Mew VMAX. I was thinking that it wouldn't be too bad of an idea to go for the Radiant Greninja's attack and put 90 to both Mew VMAXs, leaving them within range of both of the Palkias to be able to knock them out. But yeah, it looks like we are just going to go for the one-shot on the active, taking 3 prizes, leaving ourselves at 1 prize remaining, and all we need is like a boss's orders and another energy in order to just knock out a Genesect to win the game. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, so you do hit exactly 200 with the amount of Pokemon that are in play right now. So yeah, Cyrus, all that she needs is a boss's orders and an energy card. And if her active gets knocked out, which it should, we would just need 1 more Pokemon on the bench as well. Unless Nachi ends up Ultra Balling for another bench Pokemon to do that for you. And looks like there's already a Mew V on the bench. So, yes, that work has been done for you. So, yeah, Nachi's like, you know, there's likelihood that if Cyrus just gets the boss's orders that I lose anyway. So, might as well try to get as much Pokemon into play so that I can thin the deck as much as possible to hopefully draw into exactly what I need. Definitely needs another Mew V in play, because if you use Techno Blast this turn, you won't be able to attack next turn, but you can copy Psychic Leap for just 50 to take the knockout, and then you don't have to worry about moving your Pokemon, and that's exactly what Nachi did here. But Cyrus is able to just play the boss's orders, attach an energy, and that is the game. So yeah, very clean game from Cyrus. That Spiritomb put in so much work. Nachi was not able to use... a Genesect any turn past turn 1. And yeah, Cyrus able to clean that up very well. And maybe we can go ahead. No, of course not. Alright, so we pause, we unpause, and then we skip ahead. So still about 36 minutes left in the match. Plenty of time to play another couple games, especially in this matchup. Looks like 1-1 Mew VMAX in the prizes, as well as a Fusion Strike energy, but luckily that's low in the prize cards. 1 Melanie for Cyrus. Has a Battle VIP pass in hand, so that'll be really great. And looks like we start the Mew V and immediately have to use 4 Sealstone on it. Oh, that's not very good. So you can get the Battle VIP pass off of this to get a couple of bench Pokemon, but... are you going to be able to draw any cards? Looks like we're checking the energy and supporters that are in deck. Looks like maybe not bothering to check the Pokemon, but I think you should check your Pokemon. You have a 1-1 Mew VMAX prized. I think he is still checking the Pokemon as well. Just pulls those certain cards up to the top and then probably goes through another pass and looks through the bottom set as well. Looks like we do have an Elisa Sparkle. We can't play that turn 1, but we can play that turn 2. No energies in the hand at the moment. Can we thin this hand out to potentially be able to get some use out of it? And see, that Escape Rope in hand with that alternate art that we never got is, again, that reason why you don't bench Pokemon if you don't have to at times. So, almost plays the Escape Rope on accident first. You can't play that because neither player has a bench. As long as one of the two players has a bench, you can play that card, but you can't until you get there. So I would say maybe retreat with Mew, then Escape Rope, then play the Power Tablet, and then do you have less than 3 cards in hand at that point? Looks like Nachi is just drawing pretty poorly this match. Both of these players at 3-1. Definitely do not want to be taking any more losses if you can avoid it in this 8-round tournament. Looks like just goes for a pass instead. Yeah, I think Nachi could have actually played some cards out. If he retreated, played Escape Rope, then lost vacuumed his own Forest Seal Stone. Then he would have been able to draw some cards with Genesect, maybe find another Battle VIP pass, and actually have a way to win this game. But that is a little bit scary, is a little bit of a waste of resources in a way, but if you don't get set up, you can't play around the Spiritomb ever. So I think he probably would have had to maybe Lost Zone the Judge with the Lost Vacuum. But yeah, so yeah, play Power Tab. So you would have the Power Tab. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand. And I'm not in my playlist anymore. What the heck? My playlist is gone yet again. What the heck? Freaking YouTube, man. I have a YouTube playlist on shuffle, and sometimes it just puts me into the song, but not anymore into my playlist. So then it just stops. I have to reload the whole freaking thing. Anyway, so yeah, you could have thinned 4 cards out of that hand. So you could have drawn 1 with Genesect, and that could have been the difference between life and death here. I definitely think you should have played it out. I think you should have done that. Now we see, looks like an Escape Rope from Cyrus is going to put the Greninja active, and then we are going to see the Iono and a Nest Ball. So if we see, let's see, so we got the Spiritomb down, so now the Genesects are shut off forever. You could have drawn a card. Oh wait, we have a Cram, oh, because that's the new hand, that's right. So we have a Cramomatic in our new hand. But yeah, Cyrus could potentially, let's see. So we can't evolve this turn. This is her first turn. So it just puts the Greninja up as a Pokemon that is a 1-prizer to potentially get knocked out if Nachi is able to get there. So we do get a Heads. We will be able to search our deck for any 1 card. We have a Power Tablet we could play out. It looks like maybe a Lost City as well. Are we going to go for the Elisa Sparkle play? Do we have a switching card in a Mew VMAX? Looks like we do have another Genesect. We have an Ultra Ball to get the Mew VMAX, but I don't see any ways to switch Pokemon. So it looks like the Elisa Sparkle would have to go to the Genesects, and you would at least be able to use their abilities this turn. So we're going to Ultra Ball away the Genesect and the Lost City. The Lost City getting rid of is fine. Your opponent plays for Lost City most likely, so... But I don't really like getting rid of the Genesect there. I suppose you already have 2 Genesects in play, and you can only really utilize 2 of them by using the Elisa Sparkle. But yeah, we're definitely going to have to find ourselves a Double Turbo and a switching card, as well as a Mew VMAX off of these 2 Genesects that we're now able to use because they have Fusion Strike energies on them. Alright, so what's Nachi gonna do here? Just draw a few cards with the first Genesect. Looks like 2 cards. Gets the Battle VIP pass now. No good to him now, but gets the Mew VMAX. Accidentally evolves the wrong one. The one with the Forest Seal Stone was in play last turn. Finds a second Power Tablet. Could have burnt one of the Power Tablets in order to draw an extra card, but felt like it wasn't worth it. Needed that in this matchup to be able to one-shot those Palkia V-Stars, and now we're getting kind of far behind. Not being able to take a single prize card this turn feels pretty rough, especially since now this Palkia could potentially just one-shot this Genesect that has a Fusion Strike energy on it. Or if Cyrus is able to play an Escape Rope, might be able to force up just a Mew instead of the Genesects. I think you would want to keep the two Genesects that have Fusion Strike energies on them, so if Cyrus were to Escape Rope, the Mew V would feel like the correct choice to put up. So we're going to use Greninja's ability, discard, draw 2. And I like that they always use those Pokemon coins as ability markers. I think that's the best way to do it. I think that Pokemon should actually make their own ability markers and put them in ETBs. ETBs are already expensive enough, and you never pull good stuff out of your packs, so might as well just put some ability markers in there as well. Even if it's just like 2 of them, you know, people who buy ETBs will get enough of them over the course of time. You can even make them themed per set, just like you do with your dice. So we're going to evolve to the Palkia, attach for turn, and switch into it. So we are hitting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We are hitting exactly 200 yet again. 220 now that we've benched that additional Palkia. And that will be enough to take the knockout on that Genesect, one of the 2 Genesect that has the ability to use its ability. And just, was that drawing a Genesect for turn? Yeah, Nachi just does not have anything. Is going to have to play both Power Tablets. Could have played one of them out last turn, but chose not to. Just draws yet another Battle VIP pass. So yeah, I think that it really would have behooved Nachi to go for that risky draw 1 on turn 1. Just to get as much value out of his Genesects as possible to try to find those Battle VIP passes that he's now finding in droves. We're going to see Cyrus is going to play an Irida here. Going to search the deck for a Water Pokemon and an item card. Looks like the Palkia V-Star, so that we have a second one in play, as well as a Cross Switcher. We might actually see double Cross Switcher this turn, bringing up the other Genesect with a Fusion Strike energy. And yeah, this Palkia deck seems like it has a very, very good matchup against Mew, as long as you have that Spiritomb in play. Yeah, Mew just not being able to draw exactly what it needs off of its limited use of the Genesects. Yeah, now does Cyrus have double Cross Switcher? I'd really love to see that. And it looks like we do. And we can even Star Portal, get some more energies into play. You could put 2 on the other Palkia V-Star, and maybe 1 on the Chien-Pao. It looks like we are going to Escape Rope first. So we're going to put the Chien-Pao up, use its ability to search for 2 energy cards out of the deck. Then we're going to play the double Cross Switcher, bringing the same Palkia back up that still has all of the energy on it. And even using concealed cards just for good measure. And yep, there is the double Cross Switcher, an energy card in hand as well, just to attach for turn that we searched off of this Shivery Chill here. And we're going to use our V-Star power now before a potential Path to the Peak comes into play. Put 1 on each of those Palkia, and then 1 onto the Chien-Pao, so they all have at least 1 energy on them. Double Cross Switcher, bring up the Genesect, and Subspace Swell for the knockout. Now Nachi has to take 6 prize cards before Cyrus takes 2. I don't think that's happening. Unless we see another Mew VMAX evolve from this Mew. At the moment, I don't think that... I don't think that Nachi is going to be able to have his way around a escape rope, but even still, we have boss's orders in hand as well. We can just boss's orders up the Mew, take the knockout. Cyrus takes a very, very extremely clean 2-0 victory, just not able to have Nachi do anything with his Mews over the course of the entire 2-game match, and Cyrus takes another dub in this tournament. So I believe this is the last time we see Cyrus on stream. Cyrus, she did end up going 6-2 both days with the same 59 cards. So pretty spectacular finish, if I do say so myself. Unfortunately, not enough to make top cut, but still fantastic nonetheless. Going 6-2, having 3 times as many wins as your losses in day 2 of the World Championships. Not only just day 1, but day 2 of the World Championships is absolutely phenomenal. So props to her. As always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time for the next round of day 2 of the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships.